Now, for most of us, Beijing South is that one station in Beijing, which is basically always having something to do with high-speed rail. It was, in fact, one of China's earliest 350 kilometer per hour high-speed stations. Starting station, terminus, and indeed, for a few trains, a station to go through. But did you note that at the start of it all, things were a little bit different? In fact, the station used to exist previously as Majiapu and Yundingmen stations. The current Beijing South station dates from a massive expansion in 2008. And so, when the new station refreshed opened on the 1st of August 2008, I was actually there. The station itself, of course, had that festive atmosphere. Everything was new, the big banners and everything like that. So this was, of course, something not alien to a new station. But let's take a look at how the station really did seem to be. And at the start, as the terminus of merely the Beijing to Tianjin Intercity Railway, it was quite different. For the gates to Tianjin, you had, of course, lots of people. But half the station, in fact, more than half the station at the start, was basically empty. That was because platforms 6 to 17 were reserved for the Beijing to Shanghai high-speed railway line. So at the start, if you went at the platform 6, or rather at the far end, the platform 1 end, there's basically not a single person, or just a few passengers. This picture I took at the platform level, I would probably never see again, even during COVID, because it was very much early days at Beijing South, where there were just a handful of trains to a handful of destinations, even on the first day. But today, one thing that has changed with the railways is how you get tickets. Like in 2008, with other stations, you had lots of people waiting at the ticket office. However, these days, they've changed. Now, with more and more people coming to Beijing South at concourse level, they've added more shops. Unfortunately, they seem to get in people's way. And so in late 2016, they started moving them out of harm's way, out of people's way, even in the underground part, which is far more busier in terms of all the shop area than those at departure level. The metro, or rather the subway, that proved to be the one big thing for Beijing South. Today, subway lines 4 and 14 converge at Beijing South, but the subway link did not open until 2009. And when it did open, it proved to be a very popular addition, with people who basically could, they could shun taxis and rideshares and just simply go underground and connect to Beijing South via subway, which in overly congested Beijing was a big deal. Now, here's the underground ticket office a few years after it opened. The ticket machines were increasingly there, and ticket counters were being reduced because most of the booking moved slowly but surely online. But this is the situation these days with e-ticketing. With e-ticketing, you basically buy your tickets. Most locals buy the tickets online using the official China Railway 1, 2, 3, or 6 app. And that's it. They just use their ID card, and they can just tap and go. Even for expats and visitors, it works with your passport or Chinese permanent residence ID card. And so ticket offices are slowly becoming a thing of the past. They still exist. This was before e-ticketing started en masse, and this is afterwards. Beijing South at departure levels used to have about 4 different ticket offices. Today, you'd be lucky to find one, really still in operation. That's because these days, with more and more services, already a few years after opening, we had lots more trains and to more destinations. And today, the newest generation high-speed railway services by the Revival Express or Fuxinghao trains are pretty much everywhere. With rail access much easier, e-ticketing also making it less of a hassle, Beijing South definitely has changed. What hasn't changed, though, is how important the station remains. It remains one of the key gateways to the Chinese capital, even though newer stations like Beijing Feng have actually become much larger than Beijing South.